When you're from an educator's perspective, you're thinking from problem. What is the customer's problem? Then you explain the problem. You're not there to sell. There's a different approach. And ultimately, audiences, they can smell.
Welcome to the One Day at a Time podcast, where we take things one day at a time. Today in the studio, we have Josh Tan.
Dun, 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 dun. We should do an intro video.
Man.
Sound to it.
We should use your intro sound.
Because you do music, right? How did I sound just now? Dum, dum, dum.
That's good. Josh, thanks for coming on the show. You want to do a quick introduction about yourself?
My kid also asked me, Dad, what do you do as a job? Because in schools, my kid is in primary school. And teacher asks, go and find out what do your parents do. So that we can, share a bit more, teach them more about society and stuff. So my kid asked me that. I said, oh, Daddy, I plan insurance for people. I manage investments for people. So I work as a financial advisor. So yeah, this blank stare, that what in the world are you talking about? So to simplify it, so okay, I do YouTube, right? And I teach people on money. Money is like investments. I touch on every topic on money. So then he managed to relate to that a bit better and, transfer that knowledge to teacher when he was answering that question. So today I run 2 YouTube channels, Josh Tan. I touch on all financial subjects, properties, investments, insurance, whatever cases, and hopefully I can impact more Singaporeans on making good choices financially.
So if you had to summarize what you do in one sentence, right, how would you usually do it?
I think simplifying is very important, which means, like how I mentioned to him, that he teaches on money topics. So my passion is related to money. It intrigues me, how to grow money, how to manage money. These are things that really fulfill my day. So in a lot of ways, that's why I spend a lot of time in also, regardless of whether it's professional work or in content creation.
There is this saying, right, that I think many people believe in, that money is the root of all evil, right? What do you, as someone whose life revolves around money in many aspects, right? Like your job, your life, your interest, your hobby. What is your stance on this statement? I
think we should define it better. Maybe lack of money is a problem, actually. That causes people to make short-term choices. They do wrong things because lack of money is typically a typical foundation problem. So lack of money is why we tackle poverty. And it's also interest of mine why I spend time teaching on financial literacy. I have an ebook, How to $1 Million. And a lot of times I started that book looking back to really teach on financial literacy. So lack of money is the real problem. Then beyond that, when someone has money, then there's this saying, money reveals who you really are. There's a lot of truth.
Yeah.
If you are someone that is obnoxious, more money makes you more obnoxious. You would disrespect people. You would, do all the wrong things with extra money. On the other hand, if you are someone who's generous, more money is your power now to donate. I touched a bit on donations because now it's tax season. So more money gives you the ability to do the things that, really reflect what you really are as a person. So not so much of money is root of all evil. I think money reveals who you are more, but we all need to tackle the lack of money because that really has foundational problems which cause a lot of issues.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because money, at the end of the day, is really about perspective, right? Money is just a tool for us to do stuff, and what we want to do with the money is basically up to like what you say, like it makes you more of who you are. And as somewhat of a financial advisor or somewhat of a finance influencer in some way, right? Finance influencer.
That sounds nice.
You don't just help people plan their finances and things like that. You basically openly share situations on your YouTube channel, and you do a lot of storytelling actually, right? You do a lot of storytelling on your YouTube channels on different people's situation and what you would potentially do in their situation or analyze certain situations and things like that, which actually can be quite insightful, right? Can be quite insightful, hearing opinions from someone else's perspective on your own situation and things like that. How long have you actually been doing this?
Finance content?
Not finance, just being a finance person, doing your financial advisory thing, and then after that deciding to start a online content stream to kind of educate people on this finance thing.
I think the good part about what I'm doing is financial content and my professional work is tied at the hip. They have synergies. They're all related to finance. I'm not touching on lighting or something like that. It's all related to finance. So a lot of what I see in my professional work, I can convert to a financial content. So back to the question, how I got started. I actually started back in 2019, but there's actually a period before that, which is in 2015, 2016, where I started my website.
Oh.
The biggest issue that anyone in sales has to face is how to find the next customer.
Absolutely.
So I was trying to tackle the issue. I started writing blogs. I found some success there. I managed to have that mental breakthrough. Hey, you can actually meet someone online. Someone would trust you online. Someone would convert into a business online. Then when I realized things were moving visual in 2018, 2019, that's where I started the YouTube channel. So from website, that's the foundation. Build to YouTube channel. And slowly from there, we get reinforcement. If there's positive growth, you would be convinced that it can help your own journey. So that's why I plowed in the time. And I guess the hard part is the consistency, how to stay focused and consistent, at least for the last 4 years.
Absolutely. For most businesses that create content, I think that is like the toughest thing to do, right? To stay consistent and to not just stay consistent, but stay relevantly consistent and things like that. And even before you started to, write your blog and do your YouTube, you have been in the financial space for a long time. Is this your first job after uni?
When I was an undergrad, I really didn't think too much about working. That old, YOLO kind of mindset.
Right.
Like, hey, I just going to have fun first. I can make money next time. As an undergrad, I'm getting part-time pay. Full-time pay looks better. Why not I go and experience life differently? But then my father had a medical condition. So it brought into me that I need to earn that money quickly. I didn't want to go into his footsteps whereby when he finally got to retire, he couldn't enjoy retirement. So from there, I started to go into financial advisory work. I joined an insurance agency as a part-timer, as an undergraduate. So that mindset shift.
Right.
Yeah, I needed to maybe retire earlier. How to go there? Do a sales job. Okay, learn from whoever I could, and then started my journey from there.
Wow, so you started as an undergrad,
Yes.
and that's everything is history after that.
Yes, correct. So undergrad, I managed to find enough success to progress to a full-time career. So most of my peers in accounting are going to audit. So Big Four accounting firm.
Right.
So I'm like the 5% who took a different path.
Right.
And for anyone listening in, don't be afraid of taking a different path if that's where your heart leads to. Because I spoke to seniors back when I was an undergrad. They said if you don't really like audit as a work, which I didn't join accountancy to learn, I joined to learn about business, numbers. So then I realized, okay, maybe audit is not where I should pursue further. Regardless of where I should turn up, maybe I shouldn't go the traditional route of following the crowd, going to Big Four audit. So anyone listening in, this is a story that I stepped out of the norm and went into sales. And then I found success there and evolved the practice.
So in your entire life of almost 40 years, almost not yet, almost 40 years, you've never actually had a corporate job.
Yes, so I'm also curious, how is it like to be sheltered in a corporate situation? What are politics? Because, I speak to clients, I speak to siblings. Sometimes there are complaints about, politics and stuff. I haven't really seen that. So in certain ways, your path will give you strengths, your path will give you weaknesses. My weaknesses are quite clearly, I haven't seen organization structure, big teams and stuff. I haven't seen that. So that's something I'm always curious about. And the best way I can learn is hear secondary stories. So to that point, I've never really stepped into a corporate role.
Right, but there is some kind of, it takes a certain mindset and a certain personality, a certain character to be able to be like that, to not have that safety of, every month you get a salary, you get CPF contribution, you get employee contribution. When like people like us, like freelancers, self-employed people, when we fall sick, the thing come out of our own pocket, right? Unless we go to the hospital, we claim insurance and things like that. If we need to see a dentist, it comes out from our own pocket and things like that, right? Did you at any point in your life ever kind of had to contend with this idea of being a freelancer, being a self-employed person is not very stable?
10,000 times. No joke. This will cross your mind a lot of times. More often than not when times are hard. Because you would imagine grass is greener on the other side. Hey, my peers, there's a guaranteed bonus at the end.
Yeah.
There's a guaranteed progression if they stay. So 10,000 times I had this thought, have I made the wrong path? If I'm in corporate, maybe I'll progress way faster. So instead of, squabbling and feeling bad about it, maybe use it as a energy, use it as a fuel. Since you have on this path already, appreciate it and do the best. So I use it as positive motivation.
I think it is a challenge for most self-employed people like ourselves. There are days where you can use it as motivation, but there are also times that you know, like 6 months of dryness or things like that. Does it actually get to you sometimes?
Don't wait for 6 months. Maybe to anyone who is, in a small business, maybe I can share a tip or two. So you should track your business a lot closer than 6 months. If 6 months, then you see problems, maybe you're not on the ball enough. The problem should be addressed very quickly. 1 week, 2 weeks. Where's your direction? Have you planned your next month ahead? So that will give you indications already. Especially in sales, when I interview people coming to join on board, I always ask them, what's your schedule like? Show me that as part of the interview process. I can guess how hard the person works. I can guess where the problem lies. So if you don't plan your steps ahead, you realize that when you don't have a boss chasing you, you would fall behind.
Absolutely.
And very quickly, 6 months comes about and you realize you've made no progression or you regressed. That's even worse. So look at the problem on a more micro level. Jump on it faster, get used to that, and it becomes a habit. Then you manage things before it snowballs out of control.
There's this sort of like a stigma, whether you are whatever you're selling, like for salespeople, right? Whether you're selling cars, sell insurance, sell property, sell handphone, there's this stigma that comes with being a salesperson. And like for you personally, right? How do you find the balance between being a salesperson, which is important because you need revenue to grow as a business, versus doing what is right for the client?
What's the first word to describe a car salesman? Didn't you?
I don't know.
No. Maybe most would think like slimy, the kind of word that is associated.
Right.
Maybe wrongly also. I understand financial advisory work, there's a bit of stigma. And it's probably deserved because the reputation is built over time. There's a lot of bad feedback. There's a lot of pushiness. When it comes to sales, sliminess tends to go hand in hand. And that's a motivation that I also have. Could we change, at least for my industry, how to do things a bit differently? Of course, there are a lot of guidelines to do good practices. But on my own, I think the initiative must be driven from the heart. How you serve people, how you help people, instead of focusing on sales. So if you see the channel, I touch very openly on financial topics. All the tips there are free. Which means when I address a customer's problem, it's deep already. I have real insights to help them get to a different level that they cannot find online. So getting the sales part out of the way, putting customer first, that is important. Hopefully through my own journey, my fellow colleagues can see and change bit by bit how the industry stigma is.
Did you have, like, when you're first starting out or like in your journey, did you have a mentor that kind of instilled this mindset into you? Because from my understanding, I mean, I also run businesses and I also have tons of friends in sales, and it seems like the general approach to all these training when it comes to sales, it's focused a lot on the conversion. It's focused a lot on the revenue generation, looking at prospects as numbers rather than human beings, right? And the way that you are describing it is that the human being part comes first, right? The number part comes later. Can I actually help you? Did you have a mentor that kind of like instilled this mindset into you, or did you kind of figure this out along?
There's this saying, motivation can only help you temporarily, but your environment will shape you more permanently. So using that in the sales situation, if you join a company, an agency, a team that is very hard-nosed, sales-driven, bit by bit you will get that point of view ingrained into you already. It's very difficult to break out of the loop. So I guess for anyone, your choice of your boss is very important. Who you choose to follow, is that integrity fitting with yours? If you like numbers, then you should follow a high numbers team.
Right.
You'll be very satisfied in that journey. If you have certain approaches that you want to hold very closely, then find the right boss that aligns with that. Because again, the environment shapes you.
Right.
So once you're in the right environment, you realize you can practice what you believe in, rather than you slowly morph into something you didn't realize 5 years ago that you didn't want to become.
Yeah, I think there, like you mentioned just now, that in your industry, like out of all the sales pillars, right, in your industry particularly, there is a particular stronger stigma when it comes to being a financial advisor. And I think this is something that I've always wanted to know because like I personally consume quite a bit of like finance content, and some of these people are like you, they are financial advisors, right? Whether they are on TikTok or on YouTube or like Xiaohongshu or whatever, like they kind of do what you do in some sense. But based on my consumption habits at least, I do see that your content and the people that interact with your content is a little bit more positive in some way, right? I mean, of course, you do get your fair share of, like complaints and just people being just human beings and stuff. But a lot of the times people are inquisitive, right? Inquisitive. They want to find out more, they want to know more, and you don't really sell them, or you don't really try to sell them anything, right? Tell them like this is good, you should buy this, and vice versa. And I think a lot of other financial advisors are kind of also doing the same thing, but I see a lot of them in the comments section, they always come under fire in a sense where you can see that the comments, right, even before the comments are not talking about the content. The comments are just like shooting them. Like you can see that the comments are the people who watch the first 3 seconds and then they just financial advisor, you salesperson kind of thing, and like you I wouldn't say you totally don't get that, but I think your audience is a lot more wholesome in some manner of speaking.
Everybody creating content, get ready to see your own fair share of haters.
For sure.
And that means also that you have created a content that doesn't sit on a flat surface, it's on the edge. You're polarizing opinions. But there's definitely haters in every single segment. So get used to that. Sometimes they are just unhappy with themselves rather than you.
Sure.
So that explains the haters part. Just get used to it. If you're trying to go into the space of doing content, we all get our fair share.
Definitely.
Then the point of, why some tend to get a bit more
A lot more
flake. Maybe we all judge someone based on a collection of experiences. Fair enough?
Fair enough, yeah.
Which means that if we know someone deeper, then we will change our thinking a bit different on that person. Hopefully in my journey, I show that if you present from an education perspective, you brand yourself as an educator, then your reputation will slowly build. There's a collection of evidence.
But there are a lot of financial advisors who also kind of try to brand themselves as like educators, but it's the vibe is kind of different, right?
Could they have placed too much emphasis on the glamorous things? Showing the watch. I have no watch. I have no watch.
Right.
Nothing glamorous.
Right.
Have they been putting that image first? Because again, the reputation is earned, unfortunately.
Right.
So in that space, once you look anything like that someone has a typical stereotype on, you would naturally get that problem in.
Right.
So for myself, you see, I'm very clean and I preach on prudency and I walk the talk.
Prudent. You are wearing a Uniqlo shirt that costs $29.90. I know because I also have.
We should have worn the same thing. There are brothers on the show.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but to the point, you build that reputation slowly, and people can see whether it's true or not, because everything needs to be in alignment. You preach on prudency, you cannot be driving something flashy, wearing something flashy. Then people believe that you're an educator. Hopefully my journey can inspire some in that direction. Hopefully we can tilt that balance a bit further from that negative stigma.
Right. Yeah, I think it's very nuanced in some way, because at the end of the day, like you are also doing your YouTube, you're also doing your blog because you're hoping to generate more revenue, right? You're hoping to generate leads and things like that. Same with all the other salespeople, they are selling financial products and vice versa. But do you think that the reason why you kind of have a little bit, I mean, of course, all the haters aside, you have a little bit more of an interactive and wholesome audience because you are basically you are kind of putting yourself forward as more of like a vlogger type thing, where you are just sharing your life, sharing your experiences, rather than sharing about what this product can do for you. Do you think that's it?
Yes. I've already spoken at a financial conference within the industry. I did share also openly that because my intentions again, how can we shape the industry more professional, better reputation? So I did share. When we focus on products, that drives people the wrong way because we are thinking of sale. So again, our actions are a reflection of what we're thinking. We're thinking of sale, we present product, we say how good it is. But when you're from an educator's perspective, you're thinking from problem. What is the customer's problem? Then you explain the problem. You're not there to sell. So there's a different approach. And ultimately a people, audiences, they can smell what you're going after very easily.
So it's really like a long-term mindset lah, because it's building relationships with your clients, your audience is not something that it's easily done, because you do not always enjoy the instant gratification of conversion, right? Like whether you have the conversion idea in mind or not, it takes a long time to build that relationship, and eventually it's kind of like dollar cost averaging into like relationships with people, and to put them first rather than put the dollar sign first.
Yes, I think in today's age, your branding on a personal basis, if you're a freelancer in any aspect or business in any aspect, your branding would drive the sales automatically. But if you chase the sales too quickly, you realize you're short-circuiting that compounding effect. So you share the value, you share your perspective, you don't sell too quickly. Of course, in the near term, you're going to suffer. But if you look long term, you have something that permanently attracts. So the question again is, do you want something that is permanently good, that takes a long time to build, or you want faster results? And if you're thinking faster results, you realize the solution is advertisements. You gravitate towards advertisements.
Right.
And in terms of advertisements, again, if you say something that's plain, nobody cares. If you say something that's exaggerated, yes, you will get conversions, but then you will get problems.
Absolutely.
So again, your intentions would speak, what kind of actions you take eventually. So I do hope, don't go that direction. Don't do advertisements that are aggressive. That doesn't help consumer, and it isn't sustainable in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I gotta say that I connected. We met at YouTube lah, right? But before that, I've already been watching your videos, and I have a connection with you in some way, because I think it's quite interesting that the air that you give out, right? Whatever you call it, the energy that you give out is very unlike a salesperson, right? It's very unlike a salesperson. It just feels like a regular human being lah, right? I mean, yes, you're a salesperson, but you do not give off that salesperson vibe, whatever that means. I don't really even know what that means. And I think it's it takes a lot of understanding yourself, speaking to yourself, and knowing who you really are to be able to hold yourself like that, to that kind of level, and to be very, very self-aware. And I think that is something that's very, very difficult to do from one freelancer to another, because while especially for you, because you have a house to pay, you have 2 kids to kind of take care of and things like that, and sometimes the financial pressures can spur people to do certain things that might not be themselves because of the financial pressure, but based on how you're acting online and what you're saying, it seems like you managed to find this balance of generating revenue and staying true to who you really are, right? And if someone who is a salesperson hopes to kind of find this balance, what would be your advice for them in terms of where to start?
I think the first part, that someone who is trying to follow my blueprint, how about that? I think they must firstly be sustainable first. Because to that point, I also hearing what you're questioning on. If that person is not sustainable, hungry zone, poverty zone, the natural inclination is to do a shortcut.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get quick sales, to find that revenue very quickly. So if someone is not in that stage, at least sustainable, looking for a breakthrough, then maybe what I have is a blueprint. Because that was where I started off.
Right.
I was sustainable, doing well already.
Right.
But how to get to the next level?
Got it.
If I were fighting for survival, maybe I wouldn't have the same patience. So we're all humans. We all need to solve present situations. If that is solved, you want to get the next level, what I have is a good blueprint. Use that. See 5 years later, can you compound something that gets you a next level?
Right.
Then maybe that's the right answer.
Right. So getting to the sustainability part is really the challenge in some way, right? Because like you said, if you are hungry and you are hungry for things, you are in the so-called poverty thing where you, okay, not exactly poverty, but you need to pay your bills and things like that. You might take certain actions that might not be truly who you are.
I think the patience level will be way different. You wouldn't be able to practice what I'm suggesting right now.
Right. Absolutely.
So it doesn't fit for everybody. I think that's something that we should state also fairly.
So as somebody who advocates financial knowledge and things like that, you also do a lot of, in many ways, planning for your finances has got to do with life planning, right? Buying, like you talk about buying your first home, buying houses, being smart about taxes, and all these things is actually what it means to what people call adulting, right? What it means to be an adult, right?
Yeah.
To basically be a little bit more aware of like how you live your life, your expenditure, your revenue as a human being. In your opinion, how important is life planning for adults to make sure that they have kind of a sustainable lifestyle? I'm asking this question because a lot of statistics have shown that many people in the world, like in like very, very well-to-do countries like the US, are living in poverty from paycheck to paycheck. Even in Singapore, there are so many people who are high income earners. They make 5 figures every month, but they also spend 5 figures every month. And at the end of their life at 55, they realize that I don't have enough money to retire even at 75, 85 and things like that. So how important do you think life planning is for to live a sustainable lifestyle, and how would you approach it?
Actually, I love this question, life planning, because it has two parts to it. The first is work, career, business. The second part is personal, own family growth. Maybe let's tackle the first part. The first part on career part, I can share on my own journey also. 2019, I started YouTube. 2020, I wrote an ebook.
Nice.
2021, I did an e-course. 2022, I did Finance Summit, which you came for 2023.
Nice.
Thank you so much. 2023, I incorporated business. So at every year, there's one thing that compounds on the next. So for anyone listening in, if you think about career, even if you're not doing your own business, how can you compound things in your career, in your resume? That's planning ahead. It all requires you to think ahead, finding the right pieces, find the right company, build your career, build your CV. And for self-employed people, how to layer on things that help your brand. So the planning, that's one part, the work part. The second part is family, personal way. So I had my kid 2015, that's my eldest. 2017, I moved to a condo. I wanted a different environment. I actually promised my wife that we will upgrade. So back in 2011, when we bought our first HDB flat, my story is I convinced her, hey, markets are expensive. I don't think we should be spending too much. Could we settle on a 3-room flat or not? Then, of course, she took my suggestion. We're aligned in that. But I also promised her when it's time to fire off and upgrade, I would do so. So I took 6 years. I fulfilled the promise. The timing felt right because I was looking, there was on-block trends in 2016, 2017. So good part is in finance space. I look at data. So I realized, hey, things are moving. I pulled the trigger, paid ABSD, because I guess you guys are asking in the comment sections. ABSD I did pay. That was 7% back then.
Oof, that was cheap already compared to now.
Of course, back then we were thinking that's crazy. But I wanted to keep the HDB flat. I wanted to get to a new place, prepare for my kids' preschool. So again, life planning for family side, you need to think where's your next step. Many in my life stage right now, think of primary school, where you should live, who you should mix with. So these are things that in terms of life planning, we need to think ahead. You find your right environment, you plan a couple of years ahead, everything will look smooth. But if you don't think about it and leave it to last minute, then you settle for things that don't really fit. So in terms of that sense, focus differently and always look long-term, compound things, whether it's business or whether it's your own family life.
So then what happens if, so for a self-employed person, this becomes a lot more important, but majority of the people living in this country, they are not self-employed. They have a job basically. They go to work from Monday to Friday, sometimes Saturday. And a lot of people, because of how hectic the job is, they don't really have enough mental capacity to do all this life planning kind of thing, because it can be very draining, right? To think about money, to think about my future, to think about saving, to think about buying my first house and buy with one person's name. It's a lot of planning, and you obviously love this shit. Me too. I really like there are people like us who really gravitate and enjoy the planning process. But there are also a lot of people who don't. They find that it's a chore to do so. So and it's very mentally draining for many people. What would be your take on that? What would be your advice for people who they want to do it, but they just find it very difficult, like the inertia to take that step, to sit down and plan, very, very difficult.
I just came back from Bangkok and Kanchanaburi, which is a rural area, as a family trip. And actually, why I was thinking about this whole part is because I was with our driver. We hired a chauffeur to bring us around to the safari parks and stuff. I asked him, where have you visited? Have you visited Singapore? Probably not, right? Quite expensive. Malaysia, at least from Thailand, also didn't. Then it dawned on me that, even a driver that charges us quite a lot isn't making a lot of money. So in a lot of ways, right, we are very fortunate in Singapore. Most employment jobs pay well versus a third world country whereby if you're not in entrepreneurship, you're not in business, you're doing chauffeuring, taxi, you actually don't make enough to even travel to a neighboring country. That was something I drew into my boy. In other countries, you find a job, you're stuck. In Singapore, it's different. Most jobs pay well enough.
Absolutely.
We have a system that many take for granted that can at least let you get to something that is decent.
You live a good life.
You live a good life. It's not difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas for the case, you have a ceiling. We always look at the entrepreneurs and businessmen that, you have an untapped big market, population so big. But again, the majority is difficult. Majority here can get to something this decent. So the second part of the question is, how do someone plan? Is it very difficult? I guess it could be personality related. Because I've also seen people who are not in finance space map out where they stay. Which primary schools. I can smell from their decision making.
Yeah.
It is not difficult actually. It just requires a certain discipline to it, a certain desire to do things right. So anyone listening, if you're thinking it's hard, maybe you need to mix with the right people. You see their moves, study their moves. Don't be lazy. Ask them the questions. If your older siblings doing well, that's a good source. Hey, brother, sister, why do you do that? Versus seeing from the surface. And then you start to think differently. And you need to be driven enough to map it out yourself. You don't be in finance space, but I've seen before, all walks of life, they know how to map out where to bring their families to. And they have even better blueprints than what we have.
So life planning is indeed extremely important. And, because this episode will come out right before the new year. So I thought I wanted to talk about goal setting and New Year resolutions. There are many, many people who set New Year resolutions, but don't follow them. So what do you think, what is your opinion on goal setting? Because goal setting comes with the planning, right? Like, for example, you talked about you started off with a 3-room flat and then you aim to upgrade, and then there's a goal, like a milestone in life. How do you think goal setting plays a part in life planning, and how do you approach goal setting yourself?
Since we are going to New Year, wishing everybody Happy New Year in advance first. Many a times we set goals and we don't meet them. Maybe that's why we're having this discussion. Then this quote comes to mind that I think can help anyone listening in a bit better. Aim for what is achievable, not possible. If your goal is to lose 10 kg using non-finance stuff, 10 kg is possible, but you don't aim for 10 kg. You aim for what's achievable. Can I do a run, a 2.4 every morning? You focus on that, that's achievable. 2.4 is too hard, then maybe something simple. Can I walk to work every day? You may not drop 10 kg, but I might drop 5. So again, we get stuck when we think what's possible, and when we don't get there, we get disheartened. By February, you see you're not losing 1 kg, you're not going to hit 10. Right. But it doesn't work like that. You work with what's achievable.
Okay,
correct?
So kind of like, say for example, let's say I want to be a content creator. Instead of setting a goal like I want to hit 10,000 subscribers, I will set a goal like I want to put out at least 3 videos every week. Something like that.
Exactly.
That's the progress. That's the process.
Correct.
Not the goal.
Correct. Because when you put out 3 videos every day, 3 videos every week, your videos might not get hits. You might not grow your subscriber. You might get 10, you might get 12. You don't grow. Then you start to feel disheartened. But actually in that process, right, you realize a lot of things are below the iceberg. The top part starts to melt, you don't see. But the bottom part is where all the juice is.
Right.
If you do 3 a week, I think anybody can succeed as a content creator. But the hard part is doing 3 a week. Then from there, you learn, you refine, you start to finally hit the jackpot.
So, at some point, right?
At some point. So many give up thinking, hey, I want to hit 10,000 subscribers. I did 10 videos, I didn't get there. But they didn't realize you need to commit 3 a week, and then you get your flat zone. You know the exponential curve is always like that. At the first part, it doesn't look like it's growing. Correct? We only look at the tail and the hockey stick.
Absolutely.
But this part is where all the work comes in. 3 a week, it sucks. But then you're actually learning the process. You're getting better. You're getting faster.
Yeah.
My first video, a 14-second family clip. I took 2 hours to join. Clips together, I remember I was at Marina Barrage. I just took different angles of my boy running. That's my first vlog kind of thing.
Right.
Because I was so inspired to do video stuff. I was watching YouTube video people. But joining that clips took me 2 hours where it was only 14 seconds. So right now, with a lot of experience, I have 600 plus videos. Clipping them together is just a click a button. Very simple.
It's like breathing already.
It's like breathing already. Yeah, but the first part is always painful. Are you willing to go through this first plateau phase? Then you get your hockey stick.
Right.
So again, look at what's achievable. 3, maybe it's too difficult. 2, commit to it. And then one step at a time. You don't hit your 10,000 subs. Don't worry about that. You worry about your process.
Right. And in some ways, like the many people I talk to who I view as sustainable, I don't use the word successful, right? Success is defined very differently by many people. But many people that I talk to, whether on the show or off the show, that are very sustainable. I mean, they're happy, they make enough to live a good life, right? That's how I define sustainability. A lot of the things that they say kind of boil down to these 3 words that I kind of resonate with, which is trust the process, right? And doing whatever we do takes a lot of trusting the process because the initial phases can be difficult. And for many of us, the initial phases can be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, maybe even 10 years for some people. And to be able to trust the process for a very, very extended period of time takes a lot of understanding maybe who you are and what you want to achieve, your purpose in life, maybe, you think?
I think 10 years is way too long. Let's get that out. If 10 years you haven't made progress, something is wrong.
Right.
You're not critiquing yourself. You're not taking all the hard criticism at hand to improve. It's like, you play badminton. 10 years, you're still the same player. No, that means you're not improving.
Right.
But again, maybe 2, 3, 5 years, yes. That's because you need time to improve basics.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at certain point, you also need balance. Hey, improving, giving it time versus taking hard criticisms at yourself to improve. Then you can get to a different level.
Nice. Okay, so to end off the show, I wanted to ask you, what are your New Year resolutions for 2024?
When I started 2023, I was also thinking, what is the next layer of brand? I want to keep it fluid. How about that? Because we don't know what opportunities present itself. I'm only focused on process. Or I'm going to create this amount of content. I'm going to change the business this way. That I have in mind. But what is the next big thing? I don't know yet also. What happened in 2023 is, I decided to incorporate company. I learned everything about hiring people. Also, that was a thing I changed in terms of mindset because I realized I reached a peak in terms of a solopreneur. How can I do it differently to 10x? Then it requires me to think differently. So I started consuming content to help me in that direction. So if you're looking for financial content, I think I can help you.
Nice.
I'm also looking for business growth content. So we are all looking at someone who is a few steps ahead and we can learn from that already. So keeping it fluid. Next year, let's see how it goes.
Nice.
The same work would present me with opportunities, and I'm also very eager to find out what's going to happen in 2024.
So taking it one day at a time.
Yes, relating to our discussion today.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Josh. Like, if anybody is watching or listening to this that they might not be too familiar with your work, can you share with them where they can find you and how they can, follow your content online?
Yes.
They can tell them at the camera there. This one.
Where? Oh, this one.
This one.
So look for my YouTube channels, Josh Tan, The Astute Parent, and also the Josh Tan Show. So keen to see you on board, and hopefully I can deliver value to you also.
All right. Thank you. And we'll see you next time on the One Day at a Time podcast. Peace.
Okay.